Of course, we want to kick it off with Fox Weather hurricane specialist Bryan Norcross. Bryan, as you were reading in on the latest advisory from 11 a.m., as Stephen said, watching the intensity forecast, but nothing changes in terms of the impacts that we're going to see here along the East Coast.
Well, except that this is all the much more energy that's going into the water here. The storm is indeed intensifying. When we look at the pressure here, think of the pressure as the amount of energy in the water. The lower the pressure, the more energy in the system, in the overall system. And just to give you an idea of what 941 signifies, Sandy, which was this giant 1,000-mile wide system, was 940 at its lowest point, and that was just before it made landfall in New Jersey. So we can just be so thankful that this core and the worst of this is going to stay offshore. But this is an extremely powerful storm with that low pressure spread out over a large part of the ocean, and that is pushing a tremendous amount of water, as we saw in Sandy, pushed a tremendous amount of water from New Jersey to New York to New England. This is the same kind of thing. It's just a lot of that push is not coming right at the shoreline, but some of it is. So 110 miles per hour was their estimate. I was kind of thinking they were going to go to at least 115, but anyway, right on the edge there. Moving north a little bit, still west of north, but no concern this is going to make landfall in terms of the core. Looking at it, I mean, it looks more like a hurricane now, doesn't it? It's got a core here, but this band here has very, very strong winds, and it's 100 miles from the center. Just an idea, really an unusual characterization or configuration of a hurricane. To have that strong winds that far from the center has to be a big, big, big circulation for that to happen. So here where the 40-mile-an-hour winds are estimated here, you see this number over here, 265 miles from the center. That's down this direction, which is the biggest quadrant on the system, and 90 miles from the center, a long way out. These are all away from the land side, but still it sticks out this side a pretty good ways. All right, let's take a look at how this is going to play out then, according to the latest forecast just in from the Hurricane Center. So again, there are the 40-mile-an-hour winds, and then the hurricane force gusts are here, and the hurricane force sustained winds are there. Okay, forward in time we go. Here we are this morning, this afternoon, and tomorrow morning. And you see, when we say tomorrow morning here, we're meaning the early morning hours when the tropical storm force winds brush this part of the coast here. The Outer Banks gets the worst of it, but a little bit to the north, because remember, the winds are coming in from the northeast on this side. So those northeast winds kind of expand out because they're enhanced by the high pressure to the north. So this is why they're expanding the warnings a little bit up to the north. So there you see what's new here. Tropical storm warnings for the Tidewater area in Virginia, Chesapeake Bay, and so forth. Yesterday, if you saw the Q&A that I did with Jamie Roan from the National Hurricane Center, one of the viewers asked, is this part of Virginia going to go under a warning? And I speculated, yes, it was, because these winds are going to come from the northeast very strong. That, by the way, is going to push water into Chesapeake Bay, so flooding around Chesapeake Bay is anticipated. Be sure you're in touch with the local National Weather Service office. Then on the Outer Banks, storm surge warning for storm surge over 3 feet. They're actually forecasting there 4 feet of storm surge. That's the level of the water. If you were to stand on the high tide line, that you would, there's where the base level, and then huge waves on top of that. It's the waves that will take out the homes and structures along there, if that's what indeed happens. Also, we have in the southern end of Pamlico Sound, that's where we tend to get the water piled up in a situation, because that's the way the wind is blowing the water from the top end of the sound down to the bottom. So just be aware anywhere in southern, southeastern Virginia, on down through North Carolina to about the Myrtle Beach area for water rise, but the waves are what you're really going to notice right at the beach. Okay, so let's take this forward now in time and see how it plays out with the rest of the coast. So here we go, 120-mile-an-hour hurricane near Cape Hatteras, and then notice weakening and speeding up as it moves away. So we're going to watch on Friday and just see about eastern the Cape Cod area, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard may get winged by this, but the storms will be moving away when that happens. So that will take away some of the wind speed right there, but still it's going to be close. Okay, so here's the here are the wind the forecast speeds here: 100 up to 120 over this very warm water, and then slowing down as we get off to the cooler water. The main thing, as I've been saying, is going to be at the coast. Here's the energy and the core of the energy, and you can see it heading out from the storm up there where those oranges are. So this is going to put energy into the entire ocean for the whole eastern part of the U.S. But let's see when it's going to be closest. Here we are tomorrow evening, and you can see it's pushing up toward Cape Hatteras and the Carolinas here, and beginning up here toward Norfolk. All right, moving forward in time. Here we are Thursday morning. Now we're getting the peak northeast wind in here, and notice the energy is the closest to Cape Hatteras. This is when the waves are really going to be bashing at high tide. Dangerous time with the high tides. And then, as we move north, the storm is moving away, but still, from all the way from New England, all the way down to North Carolina, this is where it's going to be very dangerous. Late on Thursday into Friday, and then the system moves on away. So we have these dangerous days. It really begins tonight and then really picks up tomorrow into Thursday and then Friday morning, and then starting to move out Friday night. Stephen and Marissa, we're just really beginning the impacts from this storm.
Yeah, and I think it's just wild to see that we have this strengthening hurricane off the southeastern coast. I mean, it's not lost on any of us, I think, how lucky we are from the eastern seaboard to Bermuda that we are lucky. We are lucky.
And it's strengthening and just as big. It's just as big as Bryan had mentioned, with that outer rain band still producing some hurricane force wind gusts.
Yeah, and this wouldn't shock me for this thing to turn into a Category 4 here. I mean, this is it's really has a conducive environment for a short period of time, and then it won't have it after a while. But still, it's just amazing that it is right there. It's right offshore. It's right over there.
Yeah.
Tropical weather is a crazy thing. Yeah.
It is. It's fascinating to watch, and I'm glad we can look at it from that perspective. I did map out, Bryan, by the way. I was trying to think of over 600 miles across. What is that equivalent to? So from Cincinnati to New York, if you had one storm across that part of the U.S., that's some far reach. That's some impressive reach. So, Bryan, always appreciate conversations with you as we navigate this hurricane season, especially. Fox Weather Hurricane Specialist Bryan Norcross.